everyone, I hope you're all doing well. So this is the first update for my Project 10 books. So I had started this project a month ago with a kickoff video, and in that video I had shared 13 of my unread books, and with this project I want to finish 10 of them and also at the same time do a book no-buy until this project is completed. So in the first month of the project, I've finished 5 books. So I guess I'm halfway finished with the project, which is super exciting, especially considering I really hadn't been reading that much prior to this project. So I'm really excited to be back into reading, and I read some really great stuff, so I will share with you now the books that I had read. So the first book I read, and I thought this was the perfect first book, it's called The Rosie Project. And since I'm doing this as a project, I thought it just was perfect. So this is by Graeme, Simsion, I don't know. I'll have all the books listed down below in the description. But this book was about a man who had he has Asperger's. And he's like I think he's in his 40s, maybe early 40s. So he creates this really elaborate questionnaire because he's like, I want to find a wife. So he creates this very elaborate questionnaire trying to find the perfect wife. He calls it the Wife Project. So of course, trying to find someone who's going to meet all the criteria is pretty much going to be impossible. But he has this project going, but then he meets Rosie. But Rosie is the complete opposite of what he would think of as a perfect wife. But they kind of form this connection, and it's just very interesting. And there is a sequel to this. I think it's called The Rosie Effect. So definitely once I'm finished with this project, that is a book I'd want to check out. But that's the first one I read. The second one I read was more of a psychological thriller. This one is called Pretty Baby by Kubica. And I read her first book, The Good Girl, I think last year, and it was really, really good. This one, I don't want to give too much away about it because it's better to kind of not know a lot going into reading this book. But this one has 3 main characters, a husband and a wife, and this kind of teenage girl that has a baby. And the chapters kind of alternate between these 3 characters. So you kind of find out more about the story as the book goes on. Basically the book starts off, this woman takes a train to work. It's set in Chicago, so she takes a train into the city, and she sees this girl standing on the platform with a baby, and it's like raining, and she sees her like multiple days, so she really is thinking about this girl and why is she standing there, what's going on. And this woman also has a daughter around this girl's age, so she's just why is she's homeless, no one's helping her, So she feels compelled to help this girl. She offers one night to buy her dinner, and then from there, the story kind of progresses. But definitely a psychological thriller, and definitely very good. So I read that one. Then I read a young adult novel. This is Wintertown by Emond. And this one I read really quickly. It was a really fast read, and it has little comics throughout that was really interesting. And the comics were by the main character, Evan. And this book was about Evan and Lucy. They had been best friends since they were little, but then Lucy's parents got divorced, so that she moved away to live with her mom. But she comes back every winter, every Christmas vacation to visit her dad, and then during that time she hangs out with Evan. One year she comes back, she has dyed her blonde hair black, she's cut it short, and she's just very different. So Evan's trying to figure out why has she changed, and it's really a book about their relationship and kind of a coming of age story. I really enjoyed it. It was really a fast read. It kind of just talks about their life and their friendship, and I don't know, I just found it interesting. Another interesting thing about this, it was kind of subtle, but the first part of the book was more focused on Evan, and then the second half of the book was focused on Lucy. So the first part of the book is Evan sort of wondering what has happened to Lucy, and then you kind of find out as you get further into book when it focuses more on Lucy. So I thought it was really interesting. As I said, I read this really quickly, just in a matter of just a few hours one day. So enjoyed that. The next book I read, probably my favorite of everything I read this month, but this is The Boston Girl by Anita Diamant, I think. But I really like this. This was about a woman. She was born in 1900. I think her parents and her sisters immigrated to the United States, but I think she was actually born in Boston. But her family's still immigrants, and it just, I don't know, it's just really interesting. So it's this woman, like when she's 85, so in 1985, she's writing this letter to her granddaughter. Her granddaughter's interviewing her for like a college class. So her grandmother has written her this like long kind of letter just talking about her life. It kind of goes through her teenage years, her 20s to like early 30s, just living in Boston and growing up. And it was just very, very interesting. I really enjoyed this one. A book that's similar, not quite the story, but sort of similar to this kind of time period that I really enjoyed is The Orphan. Is it called The Orphan Train? I think I read that last year, but that was kind of similar to this, but I really did enjoy this one. And then finally, I read a Sarah Dessen novel. This is Saint Anything. This is her newest book. I have behind me, I have all of her other books. I've loved her books for years. Another young adult author. I don't read as much young adult as I once did, but I still like the young adult genre, and definitely have some authors that I really enjoy for young adult. But I always pick up Sarah Dessen's books. This one was about a girl, Sydney. She has always kind of felt invisible, especially compared to her brother, her older brother. But her older brother has kind of gone on not such a great path, has made some not great decisions. And he actually was like drinking and driving and hit like a young boy and left him paralyzed. And then the brother got sentenced to prison for like a year and a half. So it's sort of talking about the effect of that on the family, on Sydney, and along the way she meets some new friends. So it's really interesting. It definitely talks about like kind of family relationships and kind of finding your own place. But definitely like a coming of age sort of story. So I really enjoyed this one as well. And yeah, that's everything that I read in the past month. I'm not really sure what I'm going to read next. I kind of like that I have, I picked like 13 books and I only wanted to read 10. So I'll always kind of have like a choice of what I want to read. So I'm not really planning out like, oh, I want to read this next and then read this. I kind of just want to choose what I want to read, what I'm kind of feeling to read. But yeah, that's my first update. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.